From my book called Levi, the Last Rezinnite. It's a book, a shape-shifting family, about the family with extraordinary powers. And he ends up being the last one of his kind. So this is in a chapter 12 in the Levi, the Last Rezinnite. A horn blared outside. I rose, looking at my walls. I saw misery. I took a quick look at my calendar and sighed with misery. It was spring the 26th in the year 1826. I am now 16 years old. We are still in Vegas, taking our lives a living hell. Go figure that he lied all this time of promising safety and protection. Instead, he used it for tyranny and suppression. The magistrate led in an army against Roderick to preserve our freedom in 1823. They fought against him and lost. He used that as an advantage to bring the people to cast their concluding votes. The magistrate did not make it easy and started a civil war that lasted less than a year. Vegas has chosen monarchy. The magistrates and all those who defended freedom were silenced or thrown in prison so they cannot cast their votes. I felt guilty that I did not do a thing to prevent it. Then in the year after the wall was completed, Roderick would suppress the people in Vegas. Stricter laws reigned through the land. Strict curfews were in place, preventing me from exercising tap and flying. When I turned 15 last year, no religion existed except for the students' culture. Those who have endured in faith worshipped in secret. Nevertheless, the numbers soon dropped. The old man stayed faithful to Gurion, yet more of my peers began to disappear, not only in our hidden sanctuaries, but also in all of Vegas. I put on my uniform and looked more bleak than the darkest overcast winter. I was taller, obtained some of Paul's old books. I was stronger, ripped muscles, big hands, and strong jaw. There's 3 scars on the left side of my face were more common and scary looking. The older I seem to get, the more details those scars get. I recognize a bit of Ma and Pa's features. My hair hung down over my ears and barely touched my shoulders, and my facial hair grew to stubbles. I would pass as a 20-year-old. My dragon form has also matured. Although I have not shapeshifted this morning, I did last night and saw the big changes. My shoulders were round, my snout grew thicker and wider, stretching my face and brow 6 inches. To others I looked like an ancient, a normal adult dragon. My mandibles became very thick as well, and my snout has curved over my lip a bit, looking like a beak. 2 ivory horns grew 6 inches in length. My neck also became thicker in size and more agile like a dog. My wings have grown longer and almost touch the floor. My tail prevents them from touching the ground. The tail has grown thicker and longer. I liked my dragon body. I went to school and noticed I was the oldest student in the whole school. What happened to the other students? I looked down the hallway and saw soldiers coming my way. There is something not right here. I could not ignore them and my arm twitched. Then I realized what was wrong. I could feel others' emotions, but I could not feel theirs. I was in trouble. I dropped my books and ran towards the exit. A man grabbed my arm and yanked me to look at his eyes. Again, no emotion, no thoughts, just an empty vessel. The man said, "Come with us. It is time to be a man." He dragged me by the arm and I made a realization. My friends and peers did not disappear. They were abducted. I struggled free, but the abductor's grip was like an iron clasp. There was no use. My only option was to use tap to fight back. I planted my feet and gathered energy around me. I pushed at my abductor and knocked him off balance. I ripped my arm free and pushed my arm forward, spreading my fingers and used the same forceful energy. With a boom echoing through the school, the assailants went through a wall. I ran outside and saw soldiers waiting for me. I shapeshifted, my shirt torn in half and my pants ripped and fell off and my shoes broke. I gathered energy in my hind legs and jumped, propelling upwards. Flapping my wings hard enough to get a far enough distance from them, I heard an explosion. Something tied my wings together, forcing my wings to stand upwards. I fell from the skies about 20 feet. I gathered energy around to cushion my fall, but the impact still bruised my shoulder. What a marvelous dragon! You'll make your king very proud. One grabbed my wing. I twisted my leg around and kicked him in the kneecap and knocked him to the floor with my tied wings. One soldier jumped at me and I used my thick dragon skull and bashed upwards into his ribcage. I felt bones crushed. I twirled and jumped. My tail and tied wings knocked all the men that surrounded me. Bystanders came to check out the fighting. Among them, I felt the thoughts of Jamin and Biana. I knew they would be in trouble if they stayed. I needed to make a decision quick. If I flee, they will take my family and may even kill them, since they are so aggressive against me. The other option was to stay for their safety. Who said I needed to give up or flee? They took my friends and I'm going to rescue them. I will fight back. I stood up, feeling awkward from my tied wings. The knot was too high to reach with my claws. I could not shapeshift back to human. It was too uncomfortable. I needed to use time to break the bind, but they shoved me from the side and it was like a boulder crushing me. Then some cloth was shoved up my mouth and nose. There was a strange feeling of drifting away, and I started to lose consciousness. Everything I used to feel was vanishing from me, and I blacked out. I woke in a dark room, hot in the air by my wrist. I could not think clearly, and every feeling, emotion, and thoughts meshed in my mind, making one big headache. My hearing was not working well. I thought my brain was draining through my ears, nose, and mouth. The door opened. I strained to regain my hearing. Ah, you have awakened. Sorry to have to be this way. The dark figure walked forward below me. The dark black fur was like a leopard, standing as a man, reminding me whom exactly he is. Although I could not say his name vocally, I knew it was Cher. My hair, my head, it was starting to clear a bit. At least I could feel the substance in the air in my body again. I drew them in, but not sure how I did it, but they seemed to know what I wanted and obeyed. They had stayed to help me feel parts of my body again. You see, you had to be apprehended before you cause your region an uproar. It would be unfortunate for all those people to die because of you, Levi. It has been a long time since we met. You're such a weak kid, but now look at you, a matured young man in a dragon's body. Do not dare use your magic here. I have informed them of you. Do not worry, I did not tell them who you were, just that you're a warlock. They believe me, of course. After all, I was the only survivor of that attack against the Frest. Lord Bedaric wanted me to save myself. The leopard added a quirky smile. King Roderick trusted me and wanted me to get you before you are old enough to leave. He planned as he did with other 16-year-olds. Capture them in secret and make them his personal knight. Yet you were the one that put up a real fight and revealed Magus's dark acts. He wants you to become his fighting weapon and put you in the fighting force. The dragon's teeth. Congratulations. After that display, he was more than thrilled to receive you as his own. Think of it, Rezinnite. The world will be yours. You will be a hero. How does that sound? I tried to say something, but found that my words were only slurred. It was as if I would forgot how to speak. I'm sorry, the soldiers used narcotics to get you to settle. You barely have woken up. I bet you can feel every part of your body. I was aware of that and working on recuperating. You're probably wondering why you're even here. I'll tell you. He is planning to gather all the 16-year-olds to train them and prepare them to keep freedom and peace. This is where it begins. You will become a berserker. I like that title. The Dragon Berserker. The intelligence is cleared in my head, enough to feel a prick on the top of my scalp. My tongue hanging out of my mouth. I pull it in, move my lips, and try to speak. Peace? And my voice cracked. Is this what you call peace? This is bondage, Cher. Why? I asked, using time to help me speak better. Well, it did not take you long to recuperate. Why? Like, why am I doing this? Pardon, my young friend. This is all for gain. Sylvester was right to leave. And so was your friend. Jacob, was it? Jacob, I said in our wonderment. The young Shivajin was very foolish to return. We seized upon him and took advantage of his abilities. His body was very amazing, not like the declaimed uses lycanthrope. We equipped him with our finest armor, where we found out how Shivajins become tough to kill. Their bodies absorbed anything planted them for a long period of time. Think of it, a Rezinnite, the dragon berserker, and the Shivajin on our side. I finally felt limbs. I was angry and furious. I shook the chains. Monster, what have you done? I said with vigorous anger. Cher laughed. You are not that same boy I met years ago. Something better and more powerful. I can use that. I had enough of him. I gathered energy around the clasp and started to weaken it. Cher hissed. I do not want to do that if I were you, unless you want your family killed. I stopped. You dare threaten my family? There you go. You have spirit, and so did Jacob until we broke it. It will not take long with you. I inhaled air and felt heat coming up from my lungs. I yelled and shoot a fireball, barely missing him, singeing the fur on the top of his head. Cher, you threatened to kill my family? When I get out of here, I'll make you pay. I'll make sure you'll never touch them. I spat in his eye. Oh, threatening are we today? Cher said as he wiped the saliva from his eye and walked back through the only door and spoke silently. Feed him the psilocybin mushroom. I never heard of that type of mushroom. I had mushrooms before, but why this specific mushroom? After hours of painting, my wrist was starting to hurt. I sent energy to cushion the edges to ease my pain, yet it was not enough. They left me suspended in the air, wondered when they will ever let me go. The door opened. Supper time, dragon berserker, a skinny man said. He was holding some food tray, and next to it was water. I was hungry. This was a peculiar situation. Cher would not feed me unless there was something in it. The man pulled a lever, lowering me down to his level. The man pushed it back to stop, just enough that my tail came inches from the floor. Come on, it is time to eat. He held a piece of bread. Come on, it's food. I opened my mouth and chewed the bread and spat the bread in the man's face. Chunks of bread slid down his face. He was humorous, but I needed to get out of here, and this was my chance. I shapeshifted, allowed my fingers to change the man's fingers, and pulled in my tail and wings, and stepped out of the chains. I pushed the man and darted toward the door. He's escaping! I did not have time to transfer his sound somewhere else. Instead, I swung my fist and clobbered him, and he crashed head first on the hard ground, knocking him out. I ran through the opening and sprinted down the hallway. A man appeared from a corner, holding spears in hand. Halt! I charged through, building a thick layer of energy in front of me and pushed them out of my way, controlling the remaining energy to freeze them in place. I ran to a large room that was a half of a mile across. Looking up, I saw multiple balconies and floors, and understood clearly I was underground, not knowing how deep I was. Men gathered around with guns and spears and built a human barricade. Get him, Cher hollered. Don't kill him. The king wants him alive. The men surrounded me. I jabbed one man in the face and shapeshifted, holding my hands together as if holding them firmly to a ball. I compressed the space between my hands and jumped. It was vibrating with energy. When the man came close to me, by then a blue light appeared between my hands. I stemmed the blue lights of condensed energy to the ground. The blue halo appeared around me, pushing the attackers away, causing the ground to shake violently, exploding upwards, and sending other adjacent men high in the air. I flapped my wings hard and flew at Cher. He grabbed his skinny long blade and swung it over me. I ducked under the blade, landed on the rail, and twirled, smacking the three men around me, including Cher, to the wall, knocking the air out of them. I grabbed the leopard by his clothes. You are going to get me out of here. No, Cher yelled and spat me in the eye. I let go and fell off the railing. The leopard jumped and held me tightly. We hit the floor really very hard. I kicked him off and jumped upwards using the top of my skull to hit Cher's chest. I felt bones cracking above me. Air rushed out of him. I grabbed his tail and spun around and threw the leopard down into another hallway, through the window.